The psychedelic revolution is here. If you want to integrate your visionary experiences into your purpose, get clear on your entrepreneurial path, and help people while you do what you love, then this podcast is for you. Welcome to The Psychedelic Entrepreneur, Medicine for These Times. I'm your host, Beth Weinstein. I'm a spiritual business coach, 3-time entrepreneur, and a lifelong student of psychedelics and sacred plant medicines. You carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times. This podcast will help you to share your medicine so you can create transformation in the world. Listen in on conversations with psychedelic leaders, changemakers, and conscious entrepreneurs who are living proof that a better world is possible when you follow your heart and live in alignment with your soul. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to have Antonia and Roger Vanoro here with us today. Hi, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Beth, for having us.
So I wanted to bring Antonia and Roger on because I am in their Ontodelic Inquiry training that's taking place at the end of May in the Hudson Valley, New York. And I'm going to start by just sharing my history with both of you. So I met Antonia in 2017. I call you the OG facilitator of a very sacred medicine, Bufo, 5-MeO. It was a life-changing experience. And this was back in the days before it became what it is today, which, everybody and their mothers seems to be serving. And then I started working with Antonia as what I call my therapist, even though I don't know what we would call it, but it's, incredibly deep transformational work. I think it was maybe over 6 years ago. And I have just been growing exponentially since. And then I did her training.
Both of us together.
Both of us. Yes, that's true. And then I did her Rainbow Bridges training, where it was both of you training in, I think it was 2021, which was kind of including the same training that I'm doing again in a few weeks at the end of the month. Although now your work has evolved, both of you have grown. I'm really excited to be doing it again, but a deeper level of it. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to bring you on because I'm personally invested in having some more good people join the training. From a selfish standpoint, I want a few more good people. There's already therapists and facilitators and people like me who work in a service-oriented way with other people in this training. And I wanted to bring you on to share more about the training because for anyone that's been following me, I don't promote a lot of trainings. I've shared maybe a couple over the last 10 years. And to be honest, I haven't done the big psychedelic facilitator trainings out there. I'm just friends with some of these people that run them, and I know they're good people. But your work is work that I actually have firsthand experience with that has been really helpful to me, and I really believe in it. And there's just not a lot of options out there for these in-person, hands-on, you call it a training and a retreat because it's for your own growth and your learning. And I just really believe in this. And so let's hear a little bit more about it. So first of all, you call kind of this combination of I always say you've studied 1,000 things known to man. Between both of you, it's like every modality, things I've never heard of. What is Ontodelic Inquiry? What does that even mean?
Yeah, so ontodelic is a word. One of the people who took the training, she said, it doesn't matter if you know what onto or delic means. This is for you. It's the ontological or ontos. It means being. Delos, which is one of the Greek roots of psychedelic, means revealing. So it's the revelation of being.
Beautiful. Yeah. And the inquiry part, we can guess what that means, but...
So Roger and I have been just in this riding at the edge of our own growth since we've known each other. And it came through over time. And the word itself, this revelation of being, and then sharing the root word for psychedelics as well. So it's all of this it's bridging both somatic psychotherapy, deep somatic work with greater subtle field work and how we can both work with exiled light and bringing descending light down into the body as an alchemical materia, and also working deeper with the karmic storehouse. Because inside of the karmic storehouse is the multi-lifetime, the pre-verbal, the ancestral, and beyond. So,
yeah, and it became basically, as we were bumping into the limitations of somatic work, we were starting to feel, okay, there's so much more coming up in sessions, there's so much more coming up in journeys, and we need a bigger holding field.
And I'm going to actually jump in and say, when I first met you, I tell, because I've referred so many people to you over the years, including my own clients, that your background was Hakomi, internal family systems, energy work, depth psychology, psychodrama, of course, the medicine space. Yeah, let's talk a little bit more. I'm just curious, how is Hakomi or the somatic work, and then even IFS, which is so popular and everyone in the psychedelic space talks about it, how is that woven into Ontodelic Inquiry? And then we'll talk about what happened with these limitations.
Yeah, I love this question.
Yeah. Basically, we started with those foundations. We were working in weaving it together like, okay, let's get IFS type work more somatic, and let's meet more deeper patterns. And then we started tracking the patterns work of sort of Reichian patterns work. And as we were doing that, it just became clear that there are certain patterns, just like you plateau with therapy, with talk therapy, where you're like, okay, we're talking and we're just hitting a loop. Yeah. And then you've reached the kind of domain of intellect and what it can do to these patterns. In the same way, the somatic work started hitting a loop where we were, okay, how do we actually change, because we're also in relationships, so we get to experience it through that level of, all right, we know we're both in pattern in different ways, and we're not going to hide it from each other. We're just very clear of, all right, we need to transform this. And so the truth of how do we support in-session work, transforming those deeper patterns consistently, started to become really the focus. For 3 years, we were focused on how do we shift those deeper patterns.
Yeah. And as we were building curriculum for Ontodelic Inquiry as well, we were evolving as it was evolving, and we work a lot with prayer and intention, and around the prayer and intention through circumstances, situations, and synchronicities, these teachers come into our life, and having that context and container was the wow. Okay, now we're finding that there's a different frequency from which we can stand inside of this work that brings it to the next stage of development. And so inside of that next stage of development, the deep, subtle work, the psychic, subtle work was really starting to come online. And the ability, Roger taught this amazing class on seeing, which we're going to run again, and our ability to go into the field, into someone's field also, as well as being inside of our own, and seeing in a way that oftentimes we're taught, conditioned not to, So because of that, a lot of us, we can, but we just haven't yet exercised that muscle, And so I'm finding in working with a lot of the people that I walk with and my mentorships, and because we've been walking together for a long time, how that has evolved over time, and how the ability for that holding field to then allow what's inside of the karmic storehouse to be the field, to allow feelings and emotions as frequencies, as a reclamation rather than a transmutation or a letting go of. Something
I want to talk about, because that was, a lot of this, as someone who's worked with you for a while, and I'll be honest, I've outgrown in the past, before you, I've always outgrown my therapist, meaning it got to a place where it was, okay, I'm not really getting anything out of this, because it loops, right? You get to a place where you're like, there's got to be something more. And it's interesting how many people, even on the Buddhist path, on these other like deep spiritual paths, have said things about turning to ayahuasca or iboga or 5-MeO, where they're, well, there was something I still couldn't get to. There's something I still couldn't get to. And ayahuasca did it, or ayahuasca helped to move it along. But then there's limitations with that as well, right? I mean, I believe these medicines are just so powerful and amazing. And I have seen what I would call kind of these karmic healing. But what I've also seen, and I want to hear you talk about this with, especially with IFS, because there's one friend in particular who I love dearly, but it's like hearing her talk about her parts so much. I was like, well, how much does this become helpful or become like the next level of like mentalizing this process and then becoming, my work in NLP is really the study of identity and what forms our identity, which then shapes our entire reality, our experience of reality. And how many people then like the sauna's their identity, and then they get stuck in a loop. And I'm like, oh, or even like the medicines, it's like I know because I've been there. So I want to hear about that. What have you seen about the limitate? Because I rave about somatic therapy. I think most people that have had big breakthroughs with somatic, especially for integration of plant medicines and psychedelics,
it's massive.
But what do you see that was happening that is kind of the limitations?
Yeah. Well, it's really profound because the limitation, that like process of the way that we're working with our material, creating a loop, is part of the bias of how we're actually relating with it. So somebody's saying, oh, this is a part, and then they start thinking in terms of parts, and then they're fixing themselves at another level. So it's before we're just trying to get rid of and suppress emotions. Now we're trying to work on them hardcore, but we get into a tussle. We're still in a problem-solving energy where our life becomes a problem at another level. And so that there's many layers of that process that we can get stuck in. And
the one thing that I want to say, though, how important it is, because having had those distinctions also help us to disidentify as, so all of that it's
all part of,
all a part of the
thank God we
process.
found that, and then thank God we found that, and then oh my God, what would we do without this?
Right.
For sure, gratitude for each step. And you wouldn't really be able to get out of the previous world if you didn't find that one. But the sort of, at some point it becomes clear of like, okay, I have this boundless view that I could find in something like Buddhism you had mentioned. Like, there's a boundless view where I'm deconditioning my awareness, and my awareness is starting to feel really open. Mm-hmm. And that's really different from like getting tangled in the mind with our parts. And then there's also this sort of like somatic love holding field that comes in like a Hakomi style session, where there's like a feeling of like all my emotions are being held in this somatic field of embrace. And those kind of qualities like can all come together. So you have a somatic holding field, a unity field from like a boundless state. And so what we talk about that as that, in the terms of exiles and parts work, there's exiled light above our heads.
Wow.
And it's exiled experiences of unity that, when psychedelics come in, we open up some of those centers above the head, and all of a sudden it's our innate energetic structure to receive that. And so our view of the psyche has been really limited to what we're actually meant to open up. And getting out of the mental realm entirely, we can start to open up much deeper experiences through just therapy. But it's like, therapy isn't just therapy. It's actually, we're awakening all of our centers. Yeah. So even without the medicine, we can start to access fields of unity and also use that to then do the deep shadow work that also happens in medicine.
Yeah. Which to me is the whole point of doing medicine in the first place. Is to be able to get there and understand how you can access this without the medicine. Yes. Because it's interesting. There's more and more people. I mean, it's not new to any of us, but there's more people naming what's going on in the medicine world of another loop, and myself included. It's like, do I need this? Nah, not really. Do I like it? Yeah, sure. But it's kind of like we see people going into these peak experiences. Life seems really good. And then eventually they come back and hopefully integrate and ground. But then, it gets to that place of like, oh, there's something more. Oh, there's something wrong. Oh, I'm feeling bad again. Oh, I'm experiencing how miserable I am in my life. Oh, let me go do more bufo or go on another retreat or whatever it is.
Right.
And I know, because I still do it, not as much, but yeah. And it's like, well, is that how it's going to go? Am I going to have to do this till death to find peace and happiness? And I feel like that's happening out there in the world, and then the need for some kind of a connection or whatever it is that people are looking for by going into the medicine or going on a retreat or whatever it is.
Yeah, we always say Ontodelic Inquiry is a psychedelic experience without the psychedelics. This was so deeply psychedelic. And I was, do you guys feel that? And everybody raised their hand, because people were clearly in deeply altered states and processing the same that they would in any medicine journey, but it's held, it's slower. So you have real time integration happening. You have all of this access to a transmission field where whatever it is that one person is experiencing, we're all experiencing because we all can relate to that experience, so there's something about it that's deeply liberating as the field welcome back this anger, this rage, this hatred, this terror, and being able to stay with it in a field where it's held through a transmission, then we get to actually carry the congruence of owning those feelings as mine. And I know you and I talk about this in our sessions, like these feelings are mine and these feelings are everyone's. And having that space kind of is like, I see people, I feel like a relief around it. And then we can actually process the frequency of the feeling and the sensation as mine, where it previously within parts work and within other kinds of somatic work, sometimes it could be scary, and we titrate back and forth, and there's a lot of space for that. But in Ontodelic Inquiry, there's a lot of subtlety that we're working with that I think is a lot of what people have been.
And it meets this thing you were saying about people doing medicine.
Right.
And what, when you can go into these places also outside of medicine, you start to realize the language that medicine's speaking. It's like medicine speaking a language of, it's going to bring up super core material, including multi-lifetime material, and it's not going to care whether you believe in multi-lifetime or not.
Exactly.
It's going to take you there whether you believe in it or not, because it's in our field. And it's also going to take you, whether you believe in unity experiences and the realms of light, it's going to take you into the realms of light and unity experiences. So being able to have a therapeutic frame that actually incorporates all of that and begins to map it, it takes us out of the little bit of the straitjacket that we've been in, the meta straitjacket of the culture, where we don't necessarily want to incorporate all of unity into our therapy frames. Or what about multi-lifetime material? We've still all been, it's like all these modalities have been flirting with it, but it's like we have to say it explicitly if we really want to create a holding field for what people are going to encounter in deep journeys.
And it's interesting because there's been criticism. Certain people in the mainstream have criticized certain people in the IFS community of bringing in these other realms, right? Like the multidimensional. A lot of it's around the language, right? Like, an entity or a psychic attack or, it doesn't and I always say it's like, it doesn't even matter what the language is around it. It's like, it's something, right? And a lot, even my NLP teachers, right? They are not at all in this realm and they use a different language to describe the same thing that it doesn't even matter. We are in this gigantic, time space continuum of now and all happening at once. And whether we want to call it this or that, or a lifetime or an ancestor, it still is part of the I am presence is what my teachers say. And it's, yeah. And we can't ignore that. And especially in the psychedelic space, right? Where it doesn't matter what we call it. It's there. Something's happening.
Yeah.
And bringing precision to it is really important because it's like what we call it is inherent structures. It's like if you were going to have to do surgery on a body pre-anatomical knowledge, before somebody figured out what a kidney and they just thought there was 5 humors in the body and that's all they knew, and then they're going to cut you open and they're like, here I go. You know how scary that is to open up a body without knowing anything about what's in it. And in the same way, like, our psyche has all these things that are precise. It's like there's developmental structures in the psyche that are consistently there, and those do go down and down and down into the bottom of what we could call the karmic storehouse or the deep unconscious. And so having precise structures around that, you know, is so important, and that they're taken seriously and with a sort of deep investigative scientific mindset around what actually is held inside of our field. Yeah, so it is. I agree with you. It's really important that as we're starting to map this as a collective culture and we're finding the language for it, it's like these things are going to happen regardless, and then we're discovering, you know.
Yeah. And a part of the prayer is to allow this process of unwinding and unraveling and restructuring and transfiguring and reorganizing to be one that's filled with fascination and awe, and for it to be incredibly fun, you know, and for the process to be one that's joyful, and so that we can reclaim the exuberance that is who we are, you know. And so that's a big part of the prayer as well, because oftentimes, you know, these processes can feel like, I just keep, my family used to say to me, like, are you done digging, you know?
Yeah.
Or like, when am I going to get there?
Right.
I can't even
but
tell
I'm
you
like,
the
it's
amount
not
of
the
clients.
same feeling that it is. Yeah.
The way that we approach the process itself is part of the process. Right. So like if we're approaching it like, oh man, I got to do this, I don't want to, or I really have to fix myself, I'm going to like do it really good this time, versus, okay, this is fascinating. It's so fun to see these different layers emerging, and I'm so curious about, and this is magical. Like as I change my inner life, my outer life is changing. So it becomes actually truly, there's a joy in the process of unwinding ourselves that we encourage people in the facilitative training to use that atmosphere to be able to accelerate the process and change the speed at which the process unfolds too.
And it feels very like integrated to approach it that way. Like you said, real-time integration.
Yeah.
Versus going into this downward spiral of hell and then having to be brought back up to maybe then be okay, but be a little broken for a few weeks afterwards. I won't even get into that. That's a whole separate episode. So I'm curious, you know, who this training, who is this for? And I know a fair amount of clients that are kind of like me that are working with medicines and on the medicine path or serving some kind of medicines or, you know, therapy, underground therapy. Like, why is it good for them and for even like, let's say a life coach or, yeah, especially like traditional therapists or coaches or psychedelic facilitators underground?
Yeah, for all of those that you mentioned, psychedelic facilitators, guides, coaches, therapists, even people who are leading yoga classes and things like that, who have a desire to have a direct experience and also be able to bring that to their classes and have individual process, you know, sessions with people that are interested in going deeper or feel touched by something that they said or mentioned and are interested in unwinding something inside of themselves, that they would be able to be equipped with a way to be with people in that way. So
expanding your practice.
Yeah, expanding your practice. And so those are kind of the types of people that have those kinds of paths alive in their lives. Right. Yeah.
And then I know that the training that I'm doing is a 3-day weekend, and then I know there's a follow-up, I think, in July. But yeah, why is it structured this way versus just doing it like on Zoom or doing it over 6 months or?
Yeah. In-person training is extremely essential when you're working at this level and you're wanting to gain the language of the unconscious. And the power of the group together creates a field of transformation. And So in person we feel like it's so important, it's essential for the work. And so the weekends are designed that way. This is module 1 and this is one weekend, and then we have another module 2 months later, and that's for everyone who goes to module 1. But the weekends are designed to fit into people's lives and flow, but also to be in person, so they can show up, go into a deep container, and do that together as a group.
And in between Heart of Transformation and Reclaiming Lost Fragments, we have case studies, practice. So that's virtual. That part is virtual since we all live in different places, but we still can stay in the frequency of what we've practiced and to continue to bring that, and also bring circumstances that from your own practice and be able to unpack those together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And so both of those are a prerequisite for the longer program, which is 2 years long. And we don't have that anchored yet. So it's just these two first. And then as the momentum builds for that, then the other one gets sorted through.
Great. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious, like, is there anything else you want to share about who is this for, who's it not for? And then how is this different than, maybe someone just going and doing a psychedelic training? Because there's, a dime a dozen out there now.
One thing that I can say around my own personal practice serving medicine over the last 22 years is that what I've learned, I now working with people, I work with people for time before going in any psychedelic space with them, because this work is so foundational. And I think what you were speaking to earlier of the medicine, what I have found is that with these kinds of anchorings in the soul of not only the revelations, but the integration of it, then having a medicine journey, it's like it takes you that much further in actually deepening and taking away what the medicine then brings to you. So we don't often, we don't need to do so much medicine. Yeah. So I think that's a big part of it. People who are feeling that, a lot of trainings are like medicine heavy, where it's like we do a lot of medicine. And I've had people call me and feel completely fragmented and like they were just left, without. So in my experience, the first 2 years after having these peak experiences, there's like the field is expanded. There's magic, synchronicity, everything's like, wow. 2 years later, doom, all of the shadow material starts to come up. And then people feel, I don't know if that was a good idea, what I just did. If that, because now I'm living back at home with my mom or whatever, you know what I mean? So, everything is happening because our soul is ahead of us and we're being invited deeper. But when we don't have the support and these containers to be able to deepen in the way that we are, then we feel lost, and so I think for people who are feeling that, like this training is for them, because it's the work that we're doing internally is what we can show up with in bringing that transmission and that level of healing and depth to the people that we sit with and that we're walking with.
Yeah, I'd also say for like, who is this for and what are the things they might be going through is like, a lot of people in the helping professions, whether it's social workers or therapists or healers or, body workers, there's a sense of overwhelm that can happen where you start to have a burnout. Mm-hmm. And, being able to have a community like we're creating where we're all going deeper together, and you have a group field of really high-level facilitators who are going deeper. You're getting a healing experience in the retreat holding space, but also you're getting tools in your consciousness for being able to transmute some of those deeper patterns that are creating the over-efforting and the stress and the burnout. And so, yeah, it's for facilitators who want that structure in that holding field. And it's also for therapists who are having clients where they're like, we keep hitting the same issue again and again. I know that my own training level is a limitation for where I can take my clients. and I want to water all these souls deeper. I'm excited to, and people are very responsive to that. Like even, insurance-based clients are responding really well to this kind of work. It's like the world is sort of getting ready for, I think so much of this, just people are ready for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing to see that this is not, it doesn't actually scare people away. And you can be at many different levels and feel held because the work, you can feel it. Yeah. So those are some of the core people.
Yeah. It's interesting because, I watch so much going on in the psychedelic space where it's like, my client is looking for someone to sit with mushrooms, and that's like, and maybe they do a prep and then a journey and then one integration. And that's kind of the standard protocol out there. And then there's just people that are like, hi, let's meet, and then journey, and then nothing else. And I just wonder, like, what is it really doing? Like, are people moving along, or is it becoming, I mean, I hate to say this, but it's kind of like the next good business model. Like traditional talk therapy, which was great, like while it was innovative a long time ago, it actually was a really good business model. I mean, it still is, right? Because how many people really are like, I mean, usually it's like you kind of get bored of it or you outgrow or you're just like, okay, I need to try something else. Because it doesn't really like do what they came there to do, right? Maybe you'll feel better, you'll be in a better place. But, and I think this is how our world got onto, whatever, taking antidepressants, because that was the next thing to do. And then now it's like, okay, get off the antidepressants and do psychedelics and see if they help. And majority of the psychedelic space is working with, mushrooms or MDMA and ketamine, I guess. And I don't know, it's interesting because I keep questioning, like, what is really going on here other than kind of like, okay, it's a different level, or it's a deeper temporary fix than the old temporary fix.
Yeah,
I'm curious, is that what you mean? Like the world's ready? Because I feel like that too. It's like, it feels like with the movement of the world and the energies that we're in, it can't just be about like the psychedelic, because it's no one I know is Jesus by now.
I love that. And I feel like it's true that like basically what happens is like the psychedelics oftentimes just amplify the patterns that we're already living inside of. And so it does cause some like exposition of like, oh, wow, I really got stuck in a loop thinking about just panicking about this or that in the journey or something like that can happen. But when you have this integration and preparation, you're getting a map of that space inside of you before it gets amplified.
Yeah. Like people will go into medicine space and say, oh, the medicine told me I'm supposed to leave my relationship, my marriage of however many.
For a person who might be an avoidant pattern and already feels overwhelmed and wants to leave.
Exactly. So, and there's no make wrong. And sometimes having had the understanding of what the medicine is amplifying, like you said, and that it's like creating a projection and it's inviting us deeper into the projection, but we don't know because it feels so real. We all know that feeling of like how real it can feel inside of these experiences and in life, So, yeah.
And when we talk about,
I was going to say, I remember when I had a breakthrough moment with you around this, where it was like really, because there was something that kept coming up in psychedelic spaces where I was like, why is that a common theme? Why does it always happen? And of course it causes more fear, more anxiety, more, it was like downward spiral. And then once I really deepened into understanding my pattern and the depths of like the ancestry and the kind of the feeling of not belonging, the feeling of not feeling safe, the feeling of like really that deeper disconnection. And once I did that, it was like, oh, there it is. And that's when it started to heal, and I can actually, I mean, I hate even using that word, but I can say it's like, it doesn't have the power over me like it used to. And it doesn't even happen anymore. So therefore, but it was the same thing. It was like when I had that map of navigating what's happening.
Yeah, I love that. And I appreciate you bringing it because it's like it's inviting us deeper into the frequency of the feeling that somewhere along the line has been made wrong, whether we can call it a protector part or it's make wrong. it's something that's been so charged and difficult, perceived to be difficult, that when we have the understanding, like you said, it stopped coming in that way, because you had the unwinding. It happened,
And the map is like, I also think it's powerful to start tracking, because a lot of times we think, oh, when I know something, but the map that you were talking about is a map where you were traversing it in your body, and you were it's like somebody who, is an explorer, and they actually go to the terrain and they're writing the map as they're walking on the land. And it's like that's a very different kind of map, because you saw the whole land, than it is when we know something in our heads. Oh, this is my childhood right there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's important.
That is very interesting, because I feel like that seems to be the biggest issue that I've just witnessed out there. I mean, even within other modalities I've studied, it's like, it's so easy to just say like, oh, well, that's like, that's I don't know, like a suffering obligation of love that's connected to an unseen ancestor. Like, this is why our marriage is so bad, is because we have, like this thing, and then it becomes part of the identity of that marriage. And it's like, second, is that the answer? And that becomes the identity, and then you just go on with life being miserable? Or are you going to actually go in and do a pattern interrupt?
Well, it is true that, like, in terms of just neurological patterns and neurons that fire together, wire together. So these ideas in NLP that are so powerful, where it's like, oh, I'm running the same loop, and how do I get out of it? Every time we see the loop in our body, it does a pattern interrupt. So seeing is, on a somatic level, is a very potent pattern interrupt. Every single time, it's like, so even just having a real, authentic, and accurate somatic map is massively disrupting a pattern, like scratching the disc. In terms of NLP terms, it's like scratching the disc 50 times. You put it in and you can't play it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what you were naming, Beth, around this pattern interrupt. It's like, people often say, well, what do I do? Like, what do I do with this now? And it's like, you pray and you do nothing. It's like you having seen it, and then putting your prayer underneath it is like, guide me, use me as your vessel, help me to unwind that which I have been conditioned to see through my projection lens. Like, help me to see beyond what I have been conditioned to see. Fill my body with light. Fill every cell of my body with light. Guides who are known to me by name, not known to me by name. Bring me to the edge of impossible, and open the door wide. Like, I'm ready. Like, I'm so ready. And that passion and yesness in the heart, when the heart's on fire and is really there, really ready, it's like the prayer starts to unwind things for you. Show me the transmission of how to relate to this frequency as it arises in myself. I don't know how to do it, but you do. You know me better than I know myself. Like, can you show me the direct transmission of how to allow this frequency to move through my field? And it does, it works. It's real.
Yep. Yeah. This is, I mean, my first, well, I wouldn't say it was the first, but my real awareness of how this works, and like really seeing it working in my life back in the fall, when I was going through what I would say was like a little bit of a heartbreak, and just couldn't make sense out of it. And the whole thing, it was just, I'm still kind of like, but my mind wanted to make so much sense and make myself feel better by making sense. And then it was like, when we were doing this level of the work, that's where it really shifted. And then my whole life started shifting, and it was like a different approach. And I think, Roger, you were saying this, I think before we came on, I feel like it's like my life has always been pretty wide and spacious viewpoint to begin with, I would say. But I feel like it brought me up to a different level of seeing life and interacting with life from, all I can do is describe it from a higher viewpoint. And like from a place of like, okay. And I've even questioned myself, like, is this spiritually bypassing? Am I bypassing the feeling by taking this kind of larger view of our entire experience as oneness versus like, oh, me and my problems and my broken heart, because That's actually my one thing where I'm like, is this spiritual bypass? But then I'm like, but I'm feeling it, you know? But is it just... Yeah, I'm curious to hear what you'd say about that.
That's a super, deep question. It's like, as we're like expanding the view of what life is and who we are to that big aperture that I can feel it as you're referencing it. It does create the opportunity for greater bypass because we're now in contact with greater light. And so, but also we can use that light to meet greater darkness in our field, and that alchemy becomes the process of really profound midwifing, the most profound changes in our lives. And so this is kind of the gift of what we've been discovering, like that the more we hold in our being in that expansive place, the more we're able to actually heal the stuff that is rubber meets the road in our day-to-day life, where it's like, all right, my bills, my taxes, my relationships, my friends, my work, my level of ability to actually perform and function well, that's all in the shadow material. And so bringing that light down into the shadow material and into the body is now a profound path.
And can I just name that this is rooted in ancient wisdom traditions from around the world? Because I said to Antonia, I was like, wait a second. I've been doing this for the last few years, but from a lens of Andean cosmovision. So I was like, I wasn't even realizing, I'm like, wait a second, it's the same, kind of the same idea. It's just they used a lot of different language of like where it's coming from and how you work with it. But it's literally the same thing of like bringing it down into the body, into the Cusco, but I'm like, wait a second. So this is around the world in all these ancient traditions in so many, like I know, I'm not skilled enough to talk about it, but I know certain paths of Buddhism talk about this as well because I've learned some of it.
Yeah.
Certain like Vajrayana and Tantric paths of Buddhism are doing the alchemy work. Yeah. As well as like certain Indian traditions like the Siddhas of South India and Kashmir Shaivism. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is part of, you could also say it's a developmental stage. It's a universal developmental stage for humanity to be able to step into a feeling of deep fulfillment and unity with life, as well as being connected with our bodies and our emotions.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I just want to say, because Beth, it's like, because you have a lot of context, and then having just kind of witnessing you also like meeting this greater field and watching this all shift and change, like as it's happening, and then we want to go in our head and go, wait, am I doing it right? Or is this, and that's like a part, like, because it makes sense that we would hit the confusion piece. We like hit that along the way, because when we're starting to disidentify, it's like, well, wait, I've been doing all of this deeper work and this digging work, and now I'm opening myself to revelation and descending light that feels very different. And so then we naturally hit a layer of, you like schism out, and which is welcome too, but
you could say that it's like all of our patterns in life, our coping strategies, like our ways of thinking, are all ways of thinking in a world where there wasn't unconditional love,
right?
And where we learned all of our tricks with our mind from our early upbringing, where we had to figure out how to get love from our caretakers. So it's kind of bewildering and disorienting to start to experience life in a way that doesn't use all of that architecture and start to open our hearts.
Definitely more magical.
More magical.
I will say that. I mean, I don't know. In my life, I'm just saying this so the listeners really understand that this is not, there's a reason why I'm like really want people in this and sharing this, because I really believe in it. And I haven't really come across someone blending these different ways of working together, especially in also the psychedelic space as well. But I have noticed a different level of magic happening in my life, and I can feel a frequency difference than what I had like a year ago. And it was pretty good to begin with. So It's now just like, it just feels like a deeper level of, and not to say I don't have problems. Of course I do. Like there's grief, there's sadness, there's all this stuff, but it feels like a different level of peace with it, which I think is, I hope, most people are turning to whatever they're turning to get to, right? It's like, well, what is this all for in the first place, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting. And I think we're going to just see, there's a lot of this, right? Like people are just turning anywhere to cope with the world and the state of the world and the shifts and the energies and like, it's a wild place. And I do believe these deeper layers are going to have to come in, because our old way of operating, like, by the way, even like a body modality I've been doing for like almost a year now. Mm-hmm. It's completely like new in the new realm. And it's interesting how many, like even my yoga teacher after 25, 30 years she just found a different modality and switched to it. But I realized like it's part of the evolution, like you've been saying. It's like, okay, this old way worked for a long time and then it started not really working, or it wasn't, we're realizing like, oh, here's how the body really works, because as our consciousness evolves, right? It's like, and and it's not just what you guys are doing. It's like other people who are doing deeper layers of this relational work and the energetic work and the subtle energy work. And I feel like it's just kind of been, like forgotten, or maybe humanity wasn't ready yet, or maybe only some, or whatever it is. But it's like, here is the next step after trying all the things.
Yeah, we're all collectively moving into another stage of development in whichever rung on the wheel of life, that we are walking in this moment, that's inclusive of all of it, but whatever is the most relevant and prevalent for our learning here. When we raise our hand, I'll go to planet Earth. It's like, when we're like, what the fuck is this place?
I do want to say that also, it does feel like a time where we're going to be accelerating more and more, and the limitations of the thinking mind as AI is starting to show us what the thinking mind, what it can do versus what we can do. We're going to start to discover more and more that there's a lot more to what we're carrying in our consciousness that AI can't do, that is a portion of what our dharma as humans on the planet really is. And it's going to help differentiate us from the AI, because we are miracle fields. We contain a consciousness that can bring and download light onto the planet and create possibility through our field. And that's something that AI is not going to be able to do.
Hope not. I hope not. No, because right now AI is all mind. Like even people I know that are using it for whatever it is, business coaching, sure. It's like, okay, call me when that doesn't work anymore, Because I know, I actually have no problem with it, because I'm like, well, if everybody turns to AI but then they're not able to actually see a difference in their life because there's these missing pieces, because it is only approached from one standpoint, Yeah. I mean, at least for now, I don't know. Maybe they'll just be like
it'll probably get real good, but it's still never going to be as good as like
the biological and organic transmission field that human beings bring to one another.
Exactly.
Is like what sets us apart.
Yeah. Wow. Makes me feel better about all the AI craziness. I don't love it, but that's a whole other conversation. Well, anyways, let's wrap this up. I'm going to say that the training, we're going to have the links right here in the show notes. It's at the end of May. It's in the Hudson Valley, New York. It's not that expensive. It's very affordable, in my opinion. If you're interested, you could reach out to Antonia and Roger and book a call just to learn more. And then you're offering what? Like, tell us a little bit about the session options. I forgot.
Yes. So within the training, there's also options to have one-on-one sessions so that you can have a direct experience of ontodelic inquiry. So going into and coming out of, in between the training, you can actually have more attention on some of the individual work that you're moving through, and have support inside of that, and feel what it's like to experience
the full modality.
Approach. Yeah.
And we call that the full immersion. So it's just like you get to experience it firsthand, and then go into the container, and then have a kind of holding field around it.
Yeah. And we're having an info session call coming up on Thursday.
Yes.
At
Great.
7 p.m.
May
Eastern time.
May 14th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah.
Good.
Info and introduction call.
Great. We'll have the link right there. Yeah, I encourage people, and anybody can reach out to me and ask questions. And again, it's funny because this does, like, once in a while, there's something that just comes through that I really believe in, and I'm like, let me share it. Especially the world that we're in of people turning just to, like, whoever's popular, the influencers, the people with big followings. And it's, I had a really strange experience the other morning. I woke up because there's something I want to go to, and the facilitator is teaching it, or at least one of them. I don't know about the other one. One of them's like popular, And I was a little, like, I woke up and I was like, wait, I'm actually a little skeptical when the person is just Instagram famous, Mm-hmm. Like, it makes me question, like, are they actually good? So, and those that know, Sam and I are teaching this energetics to psilocybin program. Sam's nowhere on the internet. You guys are on the internet, you're on social media, you have a website, but you're not this, like, famous influencer type, right? And
we're not like big social media people, but like, yeah.
But, like, I realize most of the people I've been working with for majority of my life that are all, like, absolute masters like you guys, no one's out there prancing half naked on Instagram. And it's a weird world where there's a certain level, like a friend said to me the other day, I recommended a healer or whatever, I don't even know what to call her, someone I work with. And he's like, do you have her website? And I'm like, website? Like, no, I don't even think she has one. She's not even like, she's nowhere to be found. She's just like one of these amazing people that I've sent like thousands of people to, and that came through word of mouth to me and like has been doing it for a long time. And that's where I open this by saying, like, well, you might not know Antonia because she's not dancing naked on Instagram, but she's been serving these medicines. She was like the OG facilitator back in the day. And, and that's like, it's good for people to really understand, like, this is not just two people who took a training and got some sound bites and then are now teaching this. These are really good people, where I'm learning from you. So, I find it really interesting that I'm so excited to promote this, but I really believe in it, and I just think there's not a lot out there that's giving this level of depth. So, yeah, I just wanted to close with that. Anybody can reach out to me and ask any questions, and I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm really excited. This is an amazing cohort forming, and yeah, it's going to be
the location's going to be beautiful.
Oh my God.
Magical.
The location, it's just like a whole new level. I'm like, whoa, okay. The location is incredible. We're so blessed. So blessed.
Yeah.
It's actually like really going to make a difference. So
yeah, it really is a true gift to do it where we're doing it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. This was lovely, and it always is. You're so dear to my heart, Beth, and I am appreciating all the ways that you are carrying such a torch and such a light for the community, and for truth, and sharing your heart and your direct experiences as well, and just the humanity and sincerity and care that you bring to all of us. I love you, and I'm really grateful to walk with you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for having us. It means so much.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're feeling inspired, I'd appreciate it if you showed your love with a review. And check out my YouTube channel where you can find the video version of this podcast. You can also head to bethaweinstein.com to learn more about me and grab my free business growth trainings. Remember, you carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times.